Hi everybody, this is Ideas Times 2 and I'm Cindy. Welcome back to our channel. You probably have seen a number of flip-throughs or tutorials for flip-flop journals. That seems to be kind of the thing right now. And they kind of remind me of a do journal, which is back-to-back, where you have a journal on one side and when you get to the end you flip it over and you have another journal. And this kind of reminds me of that, and I've made those before, so I thought this would be a lot of fun. And I have watched a couple of tutorials or parts of tutorials and a flip through, and I thought I would give this a try, and thought maybe you'd like to join me on the journey today. And so what you're going to need for your cover is just double-sided cardstock. And you'll need more than 2 pieces, less than 3. I'm just going to use 3 and trim off the edge so I have about the right size. And I'm using this kind of blue and gold Christmas or winter paper. And our shop is having a Christmas in July sale. And so I thought it would be fun to make a journal in this style to put in the shop. So the size of the journal is approximately the size of a business envelope. This is 9.5 inches tall and 4 inches wide. And if you want to make it that size, that's awesome. I decided I wanted to do 9 by 4 instead, because I'm going to trim this down to make a pocket. And I'm using regular paper that is 8.5 by 11. If you, however, I'm using 8.5 by 11, so I'm going to fold it this way to get my 4 inches across, and it'll be 8.5 inches tall. If you want to do a little taller journal, your paper will be about 4¼ inches wide and will have to be trimmed a little bit, and then of course 11 inches tall, and you'll have to cut it down by a couple of inches. And the choice is up to you, obviously, which way you want to go, but I am going to stick, because I'm using some papers, leftover papers from a kit, a Lorna Taylor kit that I got last year, and I printed everything and I had some papers left over, and I'm using that. So in order to make sure that those papers are going the right direction and are the right size, I'm going to do a 9 by 4. But I think kind of the standard is maybe 9.5 by 4. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut my paper down to 9 inches. Make sure my paper's all going the right direction. I think that is correct. This doesn't matter, and that one doesn't matter. I'm just going to cut off 3 inches. This is 12 by 12. I don't remember if I mentioned that before, but you need 12 by 12 double-sided. And then I'll have these scraps left over to make tags and whatnot, so I'll just put those off to the side. And I really don't care which is going to be my front or back. I'm going to be doing some embellishing and putting pockets and things. So it doesn't matter too much, and these are all pretty neutral, but I think I'm going to put the holly in the front. So I'm going to just use my glue. I'm using Fabri-Tac, as usual. It's my favorite glue. And I'm going to do just about 1/4 inch of glue here. And I'm not using as much as it maybe looks like. I'm just using the tip to smear the glue. I don't want it to get globby. And make sure this is even. it's not, it will kind of mess everything up. Basically what we're going to be doing here is making an accordion journal, but instead of it just being a journal by itself, we're going to use the accordion as a cover. There we go. And so we're going to make 5 folds for 6 panels. And so if you do the math on that, you need about 24 inches, and 6 times 4, 24. Minus these seams here. A little bit of glue on there. All right. So one of the tutorials that I watched, she just used the envelope and measured using the envelope, and she folded according to the envelope. And if you don't have a scoreboard, that's a fantastic way to do it. I do, however, have a large scoreboard, and I'm going to go ahead and use it. And I'm going to score every 4 inches. So that'll be, whoops, I just accidentally went through there, but I think I can fix that. If I can't, it's okay. Actually, maybe I'll just cut this off, and I have enough paper I can do that, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. This paper is not, it's awfully pretty, but it's thinner than the cardstock I'm used to using. So that just went right through, that score line went right through the paper. Sorry, this is so long, it is like knocking everything off my desk. So we'll try this again, and I'll be a little bit more careful. So that'll be at the 4, the 8, the 12, and I'm going to go ahead and fold this so I can see what I'm doing, and then I'm going to do a couple more, again on the 4 and the 8, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and oops, 1 more. And then we're just going to cut this off, and that will be great for lots of other projects. Okay, so next I'm going to go ahead and start folding, and just like a book, you're going to fold the first as if this were the cover, and it opens this way. And then you're going to flip, and on the next score line, the other direction. Like I said, we're just making like an accordion journal. And 1 more. And you can see I got off just like 1 score line by accident, and I think that's okay. I don't think it's going to hurt anything at all. And I'm going to go ahead and trim here. And let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is where it needs to be cut. So this is the basic cover. Super simple, right? So I'm going to put that aside, and kind of started this one already. I'm doing an Alice in Wonderland, so this is just the same as the other one, where it will be, should look like this before we do anything else. Your cover, and then on the back side it should look like this. It should have 3 mountains, 2 valleys. The inside will be the reverse. We'll have 3 valleys and 2 mountains. So this is a 5 signature journal, and as you can see, I have all my papers kind of ready to go for this Alice in Wonderland journal. And before I make the signatures, what I want to do is, since this is called a flip-flop journal, it needs to have things that flip and flop. And so obviously the journal itself is going to, but I want to put a couple of envelopes on the front. And this is a little tall, and I want to trim it down to 9 inches, and this should be 9.5. So if I just cut off actually I'm going to take off 3/4 of an inch, and I'm going to do one more on the other side. And so and you can see when you cut off the tops, it leaves it open like this, but that won't be a problem. I'll take care of that later. And so the one that I want to do first is going to be on this side, and I'm going to just glue the flap Sorry, I dropped my glue on the floor earlier and forgot. Thankfully, it didn't land with on too much on its side where it leaves glue all over my carpet. Although I wouldn't be sad because my carpet is in desperate need of replacement. So just a bit of glue on there. And I'm going to put this here. I'm not putting the fold directly right at the edge of the paper because then it doesn't fold well. And the reason I wanted to do this now is because I'm going to turn this into a pocket. So I want to put just a bead of glue on each side of this piece of paper. And then fold this over to create a nice big pocket. Gotta let that dry. And excuse me, I do want to sew around my edges, and I hopefully left enough room on each side of the envelope that I can do that. The reason I want to sew now instead of before I put this on is because I wanted to hide the envelope flap inside this pocket. If you want to sew before, then just make sure that you know, when you slip your pocket, your envelope in, that you don't smear too much glue around, which is easy to do, and then accidentally, you know, glue your envelope or this pocket shut. There we go. Try that again. It didn't stick very well. I was trying to be really careful with the glue so that it wouldn't ooze out, and then didn't put enough on there. But I am going to sew it anyway. And I think I'll go ahead and put the other envelope on after I sew. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I just sewed. I do that all the time. So I sewed all the way around the edges. This is not a required step. I just did this because I think it gives it more of a finished or polished look, but it is not required. And I honestly don't think any of the other videos or flip-throughs that I watched, they sewed anything at all. And so on the front, this is my front cover, although this is going to be obviously covered with my flips here. This is the basic instruction, and let me show you on this one. Maybe, there we go. What it will look like. So on this one, I didn't use business envelopes. I used some old Christmas cards, and I still need to cover the back, and they'll obviously be embellished on the front because my name is on everything. But I'm going to take some paper and put it on the back. You can see on this envelope here, I reinforced the fold because I'm going to sew a signature directly into here. So the first signature will actually be here. And then this is a big pocket, and I have a card that will go in here. I have to trim it down to the right size, but it's a nice big pocket. And then another signature will go at this fold, and another signature at this one, and then it gets flipped over, and then signature 4 and signature 5. So this is the kind of the basic construction of the flip-flop. Because I've been doing a lot of Alice in Wonderland journals, I was kind of thinking topsy-turvy, made a lot of sense. But unlike the do-a-do, where you would flip it and then this side would be the top, all the signatures stay going the same direction. So it's not quite a do-a-do, but it is like one, a back-to-back journal. And so it's basic instruction is just an accordion journal cover, and then you put your signatures in the folds and then embellish however you want. And so for this one, I have made a ton of cards and ephemera, and I have a couple of little pieces that will go on the end, little places to journal, and all sorts of cards and envelopes and whatnot. Now the next thing you would need to do is decide what you're going to do for a closure, and I strongly recommend a closure of some kind for this journal. So Wendy at Wendy's Journal Adventures had a good idea for a cover, and so for this journal I'm going to try that. And she took a piece of purse. She's recycling, reusing a purse. I had some faux leather, and I put a green fabric on the inside. And the way she did hers was she sewed this to here. So at the first, right at the, and I'm sure she had to have done this before she glued her pocket shut. But she also had this big pocket here. But this is where she had it, and then it closes this way, and she had like sari silk or something, and it wrapped around. I wanted to do something like that, but decided that I'm going to put it on the back. And so I'm going to sew it back here, and then it will wrap around and keep the whole thing closed. So that's what I'm going to do for this one. I think for the Alice in Wonderland, I probably will do sari silk, just sari silk. The other Christmas one, I might do something similar. I have some gorgeous blue suede that used to be a jacket, a suede jacket, and I've used the bigger pieces of it to make a journal cover last Christmas, and I think I have enough to do something like this for that one as well. So I think I will do that. So this is kind of my version, my take on the flip-flop journal, and so you can see it flips and flops kind of everywhere. And so a kind of a fun five signature journal, tall, skinny, and I'm now in the process of making 3. So I hope you give this one a try. It's a lot of fun, and I will hopefully have a couple of Christmas ones in the shop this week for because they'll be on sale with our Christmas in July sale. So check it out. If you're not already a subscriber, we would love to have you join us and get notifications. Join our Pinterest, our Facebook group, and check us out on Instagram as well. We're on all the socials. So thanks for joining me today, and I hope to see you later. Bye-bye, everybody.